let's talk about it, okay? Because you know I am just elated. I'm on cloud nine. I'm still basking off the fact that my boys are the 2026 NBA final champs, okay? And so the New Yorker that I am, Knicks fan since the womb, um, it was just surreal. You know, they haven't been to a finals in 27 years. They have now won the finals in 53 years, right? So as we're watching the series, each game, you know, and then just lifing. A Bible verse that came to mind this week was Job 8:7 that tells us, from your modest beginnings, the future will be bright before you. And it got me thinking about the Knicks and, you know, how they, you know, they've been the underdog, right? Game 4, Madison Square Gardens. Down by 29 points, right? And first of all, I'm like, get it together. But I'm not giving up on my boys. And as I was thinking about Job 8:7 and just thinking about who God is to us and how things will unfold in our lives, watching game 4 was a reminder, especially when they won it at the end, how just because something starts off a certain way is no clear indication of how it will conclude, right?
I love that.
Thanks, babe. And so when you hear all that and you think about that, what does that speak to you?
To me, that means that God isn't done yet. Because, okay, take the tortoise and the hare, for example.
Okay.
At first glance, you would think the hare is going to win. Because seeing as I have a rabbit myself, they are extremely fast, along with hares being extremely fast.
Right.
But in the end, the tortoise won. I feel like when it comes to our life or whatever we may think may happen, what we may want or what we may think should take place in our life, majority of the time it probably won't, because that's what we want and it's not what God wants for us. And even when we think that, oh, like my story's done here, or this didn't happen the way I wanted it to, so my life's done here, but really God's just beginning our story and he hasn't even finished writing. And I feel like it's so important to remember that God has the final say in our lives, in our stories, in our journeys. And I feel like it's best to follow God and know that, because like you said, you didn't give up on your Knicks in game 4. And God most certainly won't give up on us. So I feel like it's so important to follow God during our journeys, trials and tribulations, our life in general. Because in the end, he will really guide us to what we may not have realized we even needed. What do you think?
Ooh, love all of that.
Thank you.
And I love the analogy of the tortoise and the hare, especially given you got s'mores upstairs. But also, I think sometimes we need to remember, and being someone who used to run track, life is not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So sometimes you may not come out the starting blocks the strongest, and that's okay, because God is with you along the way and he will make sure that you will still finish that race, right? And so having, you know, sometimes we can't control how things happen, how things begin. We may not, you know, we definitely don't have a say in, you know, who our parents are or the environments that we're born in or things that may happen to us or what we may experience in school or on the workplace or different things that may happen, right? And so it may start off very trying and tricky and maybe sometimes messy, but we know that none of that is in vain and that God will get the glory for it. And even in all of that, it will work together for our good, right? And so to remember that just because it started a certain way, that does not mean that it will conclude that way. It will end that way because, like you said, since God has the final say, he definitely will work it all together for our good and for his glory.
Absolutely. I love that. Great job.
Thanks, baby.
Of course. Thank you.
Welcome.
Just remember, the same way that something began, it may not end that way. Have a blessed day and we'll see you next Monday.
Bye.